people need to use DeFi in a way that they're feeling safe. That's absolutely not the case with the EVM, if you're not lying to yourself. Therefore, it was never an option for the Raddix team to be EVM compatible or to copy those. And with Raddix, you have finally for real your own bank. Very soon, people will talk about Raddix, and I will be one of those people that never want to shut them off again, and because it's so great and people need to know about it.
Ociswap, what is it? What are you guys doing? Today is launch day, so you're happy today?
Yes.
All right, thank you for tuning into the Teach Me DeFi podcast. We got another interview today. I'm delighted to say I got Lukas here from Ociswap. Hi, Lukas. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Sai. Thank you so much for having me as well. Yeah, looking forward to our conversation today.
Me too, for sure. Especially because we're diving into an ecosystem which I'm personally not that familiar with yet. So I'm very excited.
Same. Let's
Sweet.
go.
Let's do it. All right. I'd say I think it makes sense if you just give us a short intro to what Raddix is and maybe on top of that what Ociswap is. But I'll give you free reign here, whatever way you want to start this off, just to so that viewers know what we're talking about.
First and foremost, hi guys, I'm Lukas. From Ociswap, so I'm one of the 4 co-founders of our team, and we already started with our project in November 21. Quite some history, and today, the day of recording, is a very special day for all of us because we're launching our DEX for real for the first time. Just give a little bit of background knowledge why we started so early. So there was already a Raddix mainnet live 2 years ago called Olympia Network. But it hadn't any smart contract functionality on top of it. So we decided to simply build an own trading engine on top of the non-smart contract capable layer 1. So we were able to have a product already launched, a swap with liquidity pools and stuff like that already since August 2022. And so that's now like the second launch day for us today. Because just 1 week ago, the Babylon mainnet launched, so it was like a hard split. So all the validators from Olympia voted to go to the Babylon mainnet. And this now finally enables all the sweet smart contract functionality on top of it. And so now we are able, one week later, already to launch our real DEX with liquidity pools and all that fun stuff. And yeah, that's just a little bit of a history background. Also, in general, the Raddix history is even longer than that. So it was like 10 years ago already.
10 years?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm just like 2.5 years in the community. But yeah, this is like way longer in the past already, especially for crypto, right? So it's like 10 years is like an
lifetime.
Eternity.
Could you give us a bit of a background here on Raddix? It is described as the first layer 1 network designed for DeFi developers. Could you just tell us a bit more about that? Perhaps as well about the history, because I wasn't aware that it's been that long as well. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it started 2013, right? If I'm right, with the founder Dan Huge. He is from Stoke-on-Trent in UK, and he got aware of Bitcoin already in 2010, 9-10, so in the very early days,
right?
And got catched inside these early communities like Bitcoin Talk Forum, right? In these early days, there was like the spot to be, right? Even with Satoshi back then. And Dan found all this stuff and knows every single Satoshi post on Bitcoin Talk. He studied blockchain like crazy. Maybe there are like 10 more people in the world that are so deep inside all this stuff. So I met him last year in London. It was really a pleasure because there's some deep dives you will never have with a lot of people in your lifetime. Yeah. And that was like really special moment as well for me. And he already started with studying research developing like 10 years ago to make blockchains scalable. And this is to this day one of the hardest problem to crack. So there's what we are facing today is like typically monolithic or modular scaling, especially one people trying to scale on the layer one itself through execution sharding, for instance. Or they try now to solve it with layer 2 solutions or with roll-ups, with stuff like that. So there are like these two paths. For instance, Solana is more like tending to the monolithic scaling, so tendency to scale with more beefier nodes in general. Or there's like Multiverse X with the execution sharding model, basically running separate blockchains beside each other and try to certainly that they have to talk to each other in a certain way. Or now more what we're facing now in the Ethereum ecosystem is like the L2 solutions, roll-ups and stuff like that. And then that went the very long path. Especially in crypto, people are very impatient, but he said, I don't care. I will do my best to find the best possible solution for scaling. And therefore, he started with blockchains, couldn't scale enough, therefore had block trees, DAX, so certain different technologies. He even came up with an own consensus called Tempo in 2017 and could scale to 1.3 million TPS back then with a public test network. But still, he wasn't really satisfied with this. And that's really, really unusual in crypto to basically
take so much time.
To start from scratch again, even if you have already a solution. And this is what fascinating me the most to this day for Raddix, that they're really aiming for the highest tech possible, basically, and better start from scratch than with something superior, right? And therefore now we are now in the Cerberus stage, the final stage, since 2 years ago. And this Cerberus pre-sharded consensus model, it's now even peer-reviewed since a couple of months, is able to scale linearly. So you can simply add new nodes to the network and scale with the demand, basically. So there's no upper limit anymore in terms of TPS. And this is really, really fascinating because there's no more bottleneck because of blockchain scaling, or even, like I mentioned earlier, for instance, the Multiverse X solution is like scaling with several blockchains. Each blockchain has their own set of validators, right? Mm-hmm. But the big problem is to actually scale that all those different blockchains are able to atomic composable, so to be able to do all this cross-shard transaction in an atomic composable way. Mm-hmm. And all those other projects are kind of failing with this approach to achieve it in a synchronous way. Mm-hmm. So Raddix is the first, or better said, Cerberus is the first pre-sharded solution that's capable to scale pre-sharded, so cross shards with atomic composability in a synchronous way. There's no more locking of any states or stuff like that. You can simply execute all things cross shard like it has been with a monolithic blockchain before. So that's really fascinating for me. And like I said, we're already in the stage that is already peer-reviewed, and we have also public community tests before. Okay. So there is not such thing as execution risk anymore. That's good. Right.
So that's very interesting. So one of the differentiators seems to be definitely scalability. And is this already implemented? And question would be, are there trade-offs with decentralization? You know, you always talk about that trilemma with scalability and all that. Just trying to kind of wrap my head around it.
Very good questions. So the Raddix team itself decided for a staged rollout, basically, to first deliver smart contract functionality with Babylon, what just happened last week, because you need actually demand for a network first.
Right.
And without smart contracts, it's kind of hard to achieve, right? So they decided to go first with smart contracts, then with the scaling update next year, or latest in 2 years, I guess. Now we have still a sort of single shard hot stuff BFT network that's capable of delivering to 50 to 150 TPS, but real smart contract TPS, so not just simple TPS, because we need to have a network first with some demand, right? So, and before people are not able to build something on top of it, it's hard to get a lot of traction. And therefore, I really support this decision to first enable smart contracts. And now the next roadmap is a so-called CIAN. So this will basically deliver all this pre-sharded consensus on top of it. So this enables also you can imagine it like a multi-thread processor in your computer. So you can simply process all unrelated transactions at the same time in parallel. So nothing needs to wait for another transaction that's not related to each other. That's not really possible in a traditional blockchain space or in those architectures, because there's always a queue, or you need to wait for certain blocks or stuff like that. Here, simply each shard is something completely separated from each other, and you can all the people are doing some transaction at the same time. There are certain validator sets taking action at those shards, and basically can process this in a multi-thread sense. Just those transactions that are related to each other. So you need to cross-shard a transaction to braid it together. Then it needs to run basically in
in sequence.
In sequence, right? So this needs to happen in sequence, those special cases. Everything else can happen in parallel. So it's really like a throughput to the max. In that sense, there's no more limit.
All right. So only when the shards need to access each other, only then you're doing it in sequence, and if not, you're doing it in parallel. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, we already got pretty technical here, so how about we dive deeper there?
Yes.
Excuse me. I've read that Raddix has got an asset-oriented smart contract concept. What does that really mean? How is that different from DeFi usually? And maybe put it somewhat in layman's terms so people can kind of get it.
Yeah, we started with the topic that Raddix is most famous of, is the scalability topic.
Right.
So we also started with that because it's like the headlines everywhere. But what's also very, very impressive or very important is the execution engine and the smart contract language and stuff like that. That's just delivered. So it's really cool to talk about something that's finally live. You can already start today to play around with it. It's so cool. So the Raddix team really saw the importance that every single part of your stack needs to be great. So sometimes people find maybe a great scaling solution on the consensus layer, right? Great, I'm proud of you. But the problem is, then maybe they're getting a bit lazy, or they're thinking you need to be EVM compatible. So it's simply copy the EVM on top of your great scaling consensus, and you're good to go, basically. But the big problem is the EVM itself has a bottleneck. It cannot really run in parallel. It's also a huge bottleneck when you actually want to scale. And not just that, also in terms of what you mentioned already with the asset-oriented approach, what we're seeing at the moment is like $4 billion lost in hacks and exploits just in 1 year, last year. That's an insane amount of lost funds from users. Also, not just in terms of scaling, also in terms of safe environments. It needs to be as secure as possible. User funds are involved. People need to use DeFi in a way that they're feeling safe. And that's absolutely not the case with the EVM, if you're not lying to yourself. You can simply watch the news every single day, or even every week, whatever whenever you look at it, you see some protocol got hacked or some bridges and stuff like that. And that's completely unacceptable for something where people's money is involved, right? Therefore, it was never an option for the Raddix team to be EVM compatible or to copy those stuff, because it's in their perspective, it's fundamentally broken in design. So it's not an achievement to be EVM compatible, but it's just the other way around. It's horrible to be it. So that's our perspective. Of course, it's not like the mainstream opinion, and you will find a lot of people complaining about it. But to be honest, it's the only way to go forward, to break with those stuff, because it's so broken in design. And now with the Raddix engine, that's the EVM of Raddix, that's able to asset-oriented. So every single token and NFT on the Raddix network is native. So the XRD is like the ETH token of Raddix for gas and for staking, is at the same level. It's the same nativeness of XRD, like every single token and NFTs on this ledger. And that's great, because when you're thinking about it on the EVM, just the ETH token itself is basically bind to your account. Every single other token needs to reside inside a third-party ERC20 contract. And that's a big issue, because most people are not really so familiar with coding or to look into smart contracts, what they're actually capable of doing. So they need to simply trust those smart contracts in most of the cases. They simply blind sign and transactions, sending messages to these smart contracts, black boxes, and hope for the best. And that's a big issue, because basically every single time you're signing a transaction, it's even called blind signing. So you don't see what's happening behind it. There's just some smart contract logic that executed, but you have no clue as a user what's happening.
Just some hex numbers on the ledger device or something that I can't read.
That's a big issue also for the user experience, not just from the security perspective. Also user experience, they have no clue what they're doing, and that's horrible. That's a horrible user experience, and therefore the Raddix team has decided to build something asset oriented. Therefore, every single token NFT is native to your ledger. Every single token also resides inside your own wallet, for real, physically. Like for instance, when you're doing a token transfer on Raddix, it's really physical. Like you would meet someone on the street, and you would exchange physical cash. It's the same what's happening with Raddix. So you simply put your token outside your wallet, put it inside a bucket, hand him over to your colleague. He puts it outside this bucket and put it inside his own wallet back again. On Ethereum, for instance, with the EVM, this won't happen at all. People think it would happen, but it's not actually the case. You even sometimes need to find a contract address first that your token is showing up in your wallet, because it's not really residing in your wallet, right? So therefore, you're sending a message, most of the time even blind, to the smart contract. Hey, please update the balance sheet that I want to have more token and the other getting less tokens, basically. That's what's happening inside, what's actually happening. So you need to go to a bank, ask the bank guy in front of you, hey, please, can you please update this, please? And hope for the best that it happens, that what you're expecting to happen. So that's kind of weird, because people all the time talking about self-custody, about crypto, you be your own bank, but it's actually not happening in the EVM. And that's kind of insane if you're thinking about it. You have no control about these smart contracts. It's not happening at all. And with Raddix, you have you're finally for real your own bank for every single token and NFT.
That's really interesting. So I take it you're a big fan of the EVM then?
Not at all. No, it's really horrible. If you really dig deeper inside the technology, it's really horrible.
Yeah, you're making very interesting points. And is there any downside to it? Is there, for example, more bloat to the network or something going about having tokens on the ledger that way? or not really?
Not at all. So there was a lot of testing happening before mainnet went live, but now we see everything for real happening on the ledger. So we will quickly get an mainnet stress test, basically.
Stress test,
So and look and feel about it. So in the early days, we're expecting to have some bugs in the wallet, of course, because the Raddix team itself decided to go mobile only for the user experience, so Apple and Android. And obviously, on the wallet level itself, there might be some early bugs, or the gateway is a bit slow, stuff like that. But the core functionality, all the core ledger technology, Radix engine, and also the own crypto Rust-based languages, everything is already working so perfectly smoothly together. It's already cool to see after 1 week how smooth all this migration even happened. So really well done, Radix team. Was a smooth execution of this massive migration. So it was like day and night going from Olympia to the Olympian mainnet. It was a massive step, and also massive preparations that needed to be done. And therefore it was like 99% perfect. And now, obviously, in the early days, we have to find the last nasty bugs. For the much better user experience then.
Yeah. Well, let's stay on the topic. You mentioned user experience. I talked to someone, Bruno, who's the founder of Remark. He was actually interviewed by Pierce on the Raddix YouTube channel. And I asked him about Raddix and told him that I was going to be interviewing someone from the ecosystem. And he mentioned that you guys have quite a hard focus on user experience and developer experience. Do you want to dive into that a bit? Tell us how that focus on user experience, what it looks like.
That's so hard about Raddix. If you look into it, you find so many more stuff so quickly. That's so fascinating. And so it's not just the scalability, like I mentioned earlier, also the developer and the user experience is core focus of Raddix in general. So they already started like 2 or 3 years ago with heavy user testing. So all around the community. So not just crypto peeps like us, right? So they really wanted to gather feedback from everyday people, from all sorts of kinds of people, ages and stuff like that, right? And that's so important because that's so missing in the crypto sphere in general. People are already used, those few people that decided to join DeFi to this day, and so it's like still a tiny dot. They are used to MetaMask, definitely. And they are missing it right away if it's not there, right? But that's just the 0.0001% of people that are using DeFi today. So it doesn't matter, right? You really have to look for the big picture, and that's what the Raddix team did. And they ask what people are expecting from a wallet experience, for instance, right? So, and what they are gathered quite quickly was mobile first, definitely. People are already just used to mobile phones, even in when they are dealing with their finances, like PayPal or with your online banking account. It's everything, almost everything is already happening on your mobile phone today. And so therefore that was the only way to go forward. So when people coming from Web 2 applications today, like Instagram and stuff like that, and then they certainly have to go back in time to your browser wallet or desktop wallet, that doesn't make any sense for people today coming from Web 2. It's like a step back, right? So iOS, Android app was the core focus, therefore, for the user experiences, and also to have this separation of your wallet is basically the device to sign your transaction, to see a second time what's actually happening before you're signing a transaction, and everything else is happening on your, let's say, desktop wallet, a browser or apps or whatever, right? So wherever you want to use your dApps. So like the wallet is really just the second place where you're just confirming your stuff. And that's also what the people, the Raddix team saw is the best way to solve these user experience issues we're seeing today. Even starting at the seed phrase, right? So for instance, when you're signing up your MetaMask, you need to somehow write down these 24 words, right? Most people are doing it wrong, to be honest. And that's not to shame on them, but it's like, okay, it's even mentioned on the MetaMask guidelines. copy it in your password manager. It's horrible. It's really horrible. It's even mentioned in the guidelines of my MetaMask to this day. And that's not a good practice. And so most people are simply copying it inside the Word document or storing it somewhere online. So that's the reality. You can tell it 100 million times that you have to store it on a piece of paper, never online, or even on a steel wallet or whatever, right? But people don't do it. It's not happening. It will never happen for mass adoption. Therefore, the Raddix team had decided to do an on-ledger multi-factor authentication system. And that's really, really cool. That means that's not there yet. It will be there with a wallet update in like 1-2 months. That means at the time you download the Raddix wallet for Apple, Android, and at the time you're creating your new account, it will ask you for certain backup factors or even for confirmation setups. Because in case you're losing your smartphone, what happens? You have no seed phrase anymore with Raddix. That's really cool because other people are always panicking. Oh, no seed phrase. Okay, no, it's horrible, right? No, just different because you can set up such a better or way more safe and secure way to solve it, right? That means in case you're losing a smartphone, you can simply restore it on a new smartphone with your set two factors. For instance, it could be classically your ledger device, YubiKey, that's really cool, friends and family. So other friends and family members that also using the Raddix wallet could be a factor to get you back to your stuff. Right? So you can have so many different multi-factors, or even like a service provider if you want to. If you want to hand over one to a service provider that has one factor, could be also possible. So you can finally find a mass compatible way to solve this massive seed phrase issue what we are facing today. And therefore, also the decision is just the right one to have your smartphone as the primary source and all these multi-factors to set to get back to your wallet access in case you're losing a smartphone. And that's just one of those things I find so fascinating about the Raddix stack.
Yeah, self-custody is a big issue in terms of bringing it to the masses. Like you said, it's quite challenging for a lot of people. Interesting to hear what approach Raddix is following there. So if you talk about the token, actually, you mentioned it briefly. What are the use cases for it? What can you do? Staking and what else?
So at the moment, it has kind of this similar technicalities to the ETH token. So it's like for paying gas fees inside the layer 1 smart contracts, transactions, whatever. Also, it's delegated proof of stake. At the moment, the Raddix team already is researching another approach for Sybil after the pre-sharded upgrade. So I expecting to have a sort of hybrid afterwards. So sort of a proof of work, proof of stake hybrid. That means in case too many validators are losing connection at the same time. So you have liveness issues typically on staking networks. So Raddix will solve that with a sort of hybrid as well. At the moment, just DPoS. So also for staking XRD. And so it's like kind of the similar functionality. So you have 300 million new minted XRDs for staking rewards each year, roughly. And the half of the fees are burned as a countermeasure. So maybe it could happen like on ETH that you even get these net deflationary stuff if there's enough demand on the network. So it has kind of the same functionality, but what's even cooler on Raddix is like we have native liquid staking. So it's not like on ETH. Ethereum itself has no liquid staking. So all this Lido protocol stuff is like on the application layer itself. So basically tries to get liquid staking on ETH. On Raddix, it's really a core feature. It's a core functionality of so built-in feature. Basically, if you're staking XRD, you're receiving LSU, so it's liquid staking units back to your wallet right away. And those LSUs are bind to the validator you're staking to. So you have a direct flow from validator to delegator. there's nothing, so there's no Lido or something else in between. So this is I would say to this day a unique solution. Really looking forward how this will play out, because we see the tendency of centralization on Ethereum, for instance. So like Lido has more than 20% of stake already. So this could solve it. Therefore, you don't need to stake to some protocol to get some liquid tokens back. On Raddix, it doesn't matter where you're staking, basically. You can choose your validators and you get your LSU every single time. So you can even spread it across the validator set, all your staking. So hopefully this will lead to less centralization in staking as well.
Interesting. Because actually, pretty... current topic as well, because I think Vitalik, I don't know if you followed that, was discussing if liquid staking should be enshrined or included in the Ethereum protocol or not.
Raddix had it already. It's shipped.
Yeah, lovely. How does Raddix go about governance? Because it's also a big topic in terms of decentralized networks. Who decides what happens with it? What's the process for it?
Definitely one of the research weakest spots at the moment. So therefore, the Raddix team itself has one or two people inside their 70 plus employees team at the moment, just looking into governance. So at the moment, it's like limited to 100 validator nodes. So just the top 100 in stake is inside the validator set. And there's no built-in on the ledger level sort of governance implemented at the moment. So it's at the moment still heavily linked to the core developer Raddix works. They cannot force an update, of course, so the validators have to vote for every single step with like an 80% majority. But of course, there's not really something like a built-in governance yet there. The team itself mentioned it very often already that they want to have something in place after the CRN update, so with the scalable update. Therefore, afterwards, they really shipped all those major promises. That is really important to have a fastly executing core developer until all these core promises are shipped, because governance could be kind of also be in the way to deliver those promises. And afterwards, we as a community really have to point at you guys to implement governance, or to really force now that we have to implement it on a ledger level as well. I'm heavily also in favor of on-chain governance if it's done correctly, because it's also a very hard problem to achieve to do governance in a good way that cannot be easily faked, or so there's some social issues, and so it's not so easy. It's easier said than done, right? So it's a hard problem.
Yeah, I agree. I think governance is a tough nut to crack. I know that Polkadot is quite advanced in terms of on-chain governance, and that is really exciting to see. But at the same time, there are always challenges popping up. One of them is voter turnout. Just most people aren't that interested to vote, like the casual users. So you have a low voter turnout. I think they work with delegation then, so you can delegate your votes to others who then vote, and you can see if they're in line with sort of your way of thinking, your philosophy. It's token-based rating, token-based voting. So that can lead to sometimes whales having the power to sway votes. There's concepts implemented to work against that, but it is an ongoing theme, an ongoing issue. It's a tough nut to crack, but
a lot of game theory as well.
Yeah, agreed. Now it's
social
good.
issues.
It's good to hear, though, that you're also, a proponent of on-chain governance in general. All right, I think we could talk about Raddix for a long time. I get that feeling from you,
It's just scratched the surface a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe in a different session we can dive deeper again.
Yes.
But in the to allocate some time as well, to your project, we could dive into that now. Ociswap, what is it? What are you guys doing? Tell me more about it.
Yeah, so Ociswap is the front page of Raddix. So we see us basically as the coin market cap or CoinGecko of Raddix. So it's a simple top token view of all the listed tokens with own pools. So we really decided to this aspect because it's way more interesting for people. And the first going to ociswap.com, they finally see all these listed tokens, can have a first view about the market cap, about different informations and stuff like that. So there's really the core functionality or core focus for us, for everyday people to have a great experience right away. So we leverage the Uniswap V3 concentrated liquidity stuff later. So we're now starting with simple pools, also imbalanced pools later. So for the first few weeks until we have done more internal testings and also audits. So we basically now have a staged rollout with basic pools, liquidity pools first. And so this is like the day one experience. I can show you later as well on my screen sharing. Yeah, what's also important for us to leverage all those specific Raddix features itself. So you have a human readable manifest before you're signing a transaction. So you have a clue actually what's happening inside your own wallet before signing a transaction. And that's so important, especially for swaps. Mostly on the Ethereum land, for instance, you're just getting a hash. You have no clue what you're signing, basically, and hope for the best. And here we can finally leverage all those nice, handy features of Raddix itself. And also cannot wait to show you all this now with a live experience.
Yeah, it sounds good. Well, yeah, let's do it. Let's dive in, show us a bit of the interface so people get an idea what it looks like.
Great, let's go. Yeah, hi guys, again. So this now with my screen sharing, even prepared in side-by-side view because Raddix, like I said, is a mobile-first solution. So the Raddix wallet itself is residing on your Apple or Android device. You can see here, you see live basically what I'm doing on my phone. And on the desktop browser itself is our ociswap.com, our DEX interface. So to get a first glance how this works on Raddix. So you download your Raddix wallet, set up your first persona or account. So it's like a free step and you're already done. It's really simple. So you don't need to write down your seed phrase right away. In the early stage now we still have to deal with seed phrases until we have the earlier mentioned multi-factor authentication stuff implemented also on the Raddix wallet. So we're expecting to have this in 2 or 3 months latest. Okay, after we set up this Raddix wallet, you can see your accounts here as a first glance, and you need to also install a Raddix Connect plugin for your Chrome browser to use it on your desktop as well. And then you basically just scan your QR code with your phone to this connector app, and then there's this one-time connection is done, and you never need to touch this plugin again. So it's just a one-time set and forget, basically. So I have already set this up, and now you can see here on the upper right side the Raddix Connect button. Press this, and you can simply press Connect Now, and now I have this pop up on my phone. And I can choose my persona. Persona is a feature we haven't talked about earlier. It's basically to separate what you own to who you are. So it's like you can simply give you an online persona, but it's not connected to your wallet itself. That's always a problem on other layer ones, that you basically show up your full wallet history, by the way, with your DApp. But with Raddix, you can finally separate those things. You can, for instance, create a persona for your Degen account or for your very professional trading stuff. So you can separate this, also give those personas different account. So there's an abstraction that's really cool to see. So I'm choosing my OCCAT persona now. I continue. And now I can choose which accounts I want to give permission to Ociswap. Here's one mentioned like for Ociswap. And now just need a Face ID. Submit, and that's already done. So now I can see my OCCAT persona is connected with this one account for Ociswap. That's all we can see, basically. So you're in total control about the data you want to share with each DApp. That's really cool. And also you can see if you have multiple accounts, you can track those and switch between those different accounts on our website directly. So like I mentioned, this is our homepage. It's the front page of Raddix, and you can see already some early listed projects on this top token view. Let's go with our own Ociswap token. Like we just started, so these charts and everything is still very early, so there's not much history to see at this early stage. We have even a transaction history of people buying, selling, adding and removing liquidity. You can see a nice overview there as well with some trading view charts. You might be familiar already. A first glance of statistics of the specific token and information as well that the team might want to provide as well in the future. And obviously also the pools, so all the different liquidity pools that are already created for this token. So we have now one liquidity pool for this OC token with packed with XRD itself. So now we're starting with adding liquidity. You have to check your balances. So I have now like 470 XRD maximum on my wallet. Let's go with 200, and it also calculates the amount of OC you need to provide to this 50-50 balance pool. And then add liquidity. And now it's the magic is happening with the Raddix Layer 1 tech stack. This is all on-ledger native functionality. So it's not something like it's just a wallet feature on top of it. So like fake it till you make it. This is really happening now on ledger. So it's showing you a human readable manifest. And this is really cool. Just need to get me out of the way at the same time. So you can see for Ociswap is your account. And you have now those two tokens, like OC and XRD, with the amount of 1 OC and 200 XRD, roughly. Right? You're using the dApp called Ociswap, you can see in the middle. Depositing to the OCLP, so the liquidity pool, you're putting that, and you're getting a return for the LP tokens back, so you can claim those tokens later on when you want to remove liquidity again. But how cool is that? You can already see what's happening, and you have a guarantee that this will happen, right? So it's like a receipt. When you're going to a cashier, after you're paying for something, you get a receipt. You have actually a clue what you're paying for, right? But it's not possible of Ethereum. You just have this hash. You don't know what's happening. And here is this. And you can even customize your guarantees. That means the slippage setting is a baked in a network-wide feature. It's not just something we have done on Ociswap ourselves. The Raddix network itself guarantees you. So sandwich attacks cannot happen. MEV attacks are way reduced. So you can even say 100%. So if even the tiny amount of slippage is happening, this will just fail. This transaction, nothing will happen at all. So to be maybe a bit more certain, you can go with 99%, for instance. So you can set your guarantee minimum, basically. Also for different, so for the LTP token, also for the XRD token, so you can give them whatever you want to set. So now I have the customized guarantee of 99%. That means you can see in the second line now, guaranteed is at least 14.43. So this is the 1% that could be maximum of what you're expecting now. So, and you can even see the transaction fees are already calculated, right? So there's also no more things that can happen that could surprise you. So the 0.81 XRD fee will happen for certain. So there's no more surprises. And even set there, you can even customize your fees and can check what actually is happening behind. So you have the network fee. We have not some additional royalty fees. So we can even set as Ociswap developer, we could say to charge an extra royalty fee, right? That's also a baked-in feature on Raddix. It's really cool, but we decided to don't do it. So there's no additional fee from our side, but you can even see it there. So you cannot fake it. So you will have the guarantee that's happening as well. And so and this is really neat feature. When you're pressing on View Advanced, you can even say that another wallet can pay your gas fees. How often I had to struggle. I just wanted to send some USDC stablecoin from wallet A to wallet B. But I have no ETH on my wallet to pay the gas. That's happened so often to me all the time. It's so embarrassing. And then I have to send those ETH to the other wallet and have to pay additional gas fees, right? On Raddix, you can finally give all those accounts or wallets you have, right, in your wallet. You can say one single account will pay all the fees all the time. So you just need to take care of that this single account holds XRD for fees all the time. And what's also neat, you can even, as a developer of a dApp, say that you pay all the fees for your customers even. That's impossible on even all the other layer ones. You cannot do that. It's not possible. You are forced to that the customer has to pay the fees. There's no other way around it, right? But in this case, you can even say as a developer, hey, I want to onboard many new people into my experience. I don't want that force them that they have to buy XRD first. I simply have a wallet with XRD inside it and people can use it. That's amazing, right? And you can even have those advanced settings here. That's so cool. That's really one of my favorite additional features you wouldn't expect on a layer one. So now I can slide to sign after I checked everything, right? So this is like this slide to sign feature here, and there's this additional check with my Face ID, and now this transaction is already set to the network. If you're using a ledger device, you have a second factor, so you also need to sign this transaction on your ledger as well. But in this case, I just set it up without a ledger, so it's just one step. So as you can see now, I already provided liquidity here. It's added to this list. And that's done, right? And super cool, also you see on your wallet right away all these LP tokens. So you have an overview what you actually provided. So you have 580 XRD and 2.7 OC inside your pool now. And that's also now ready to claim as well. So if you want to remove liquidity again, set it to max, or let's say you want to remove most of it as well, you can simply send another signal to your Raddix wallet, and there you have another guarantee that you will get it back. And you have this human readable manifest again, estimated that you're getting this amount of OC XRD back, and yeah, that's also super neat. Just need to sign it again with my Face ID, and then it's back into my basic wallet. So this is for all my pool units, all my NFTs, and all my tokens. So you can see when I update it again that my balance of XRD is already higher. And like I mentioned earlier, all the tokens, NFTs are native to your ledger. So this is really there right away. So don't need to search for some contracts, for some smart contracts to find all your tokens. No, they are visible all the time inside your wallet. That's so cool to see. And what's also cool, so it's a UTXO style of transactions happening on Raddix. So it's not like a account-based model on Ethereum. So you can even do all these neat things that are impossible on Ethereum. For instance, you can choose an account 1, add assets to them, as many as you wish. Set those amounts you want to send. So I have 3 assets now for account 1. Okay, that was, I don't want to press that. But still you can see now when I just want to send it to from one to another account, also nice view. What I wanted to show as well is choose account 1, add assets, so 2, in this case those 2, and then add account 2, add assets. I can choose as many as I'd like, max, and all this is now happening in a single transaction, like UTXO, maybe familiar on Cardano as well. And this is super cool because you just have to pay one-time fee that you can see as well here, like 1.1 XRD fee for all of this happening. So in a single transaction, 4 tokens are leaving your wallet for Ociswap here on top, and at the same time, wallet account 1 and account 2 will receive 2 of those tokens as well in a single transaction. Is super, super cool as well that this is possible. Okay, now we have shown you all these add and remove liquidity, right? So let's say I just want to swap some tokens. Go to Ociswap as well, and then I decide I want to buy, or the other way around. Let's go to XRD, OC. So I want to buy for 10 XRD, and then we'll calculate the amount of OC I will get back, right? So press swap, and just another time the magic is happening. I have a clue what's happening inside my wallet. After some calculation, as I mentioned earlier, it's a bit slow at the moment because we're in the early stage of Babylon. With slow gateways, they will fix all of it, so it will be way faster and snappier in the near future. So you can see I will swap XRD 10 using Ociswap DEX, and I will receive for certain 0.053 OC tokens back. Have to pay those fees and then slide to sign, and I'm good to go. So I have done my swap as well. So this is also nicely view. And just a neat day one feature. Most people don't expect it from us that we're doing it. It's like a token wizard, so you can even create your own token. Set some settings here. So like test token, symbol test. Give them a max supply, like let's say 5,000. Description, so the best token money can buy. I can URL, so I can look for some URL to get a nice neat token logo as well. So just leave it blank at the moment. Give it a URL where you want to link to people. They check it out. Even text, that's super cool. So like test, comma, token, comma, whatever your project might be around. So it could be for an Oracle or something. So tech Oracle, for instance. And depth definition is also super cool. So you can simply paste your account address as well. And you will receive an owner badge. And with this owner badge, you can change these settings later on. So you can give it another token icon, for instance. So it's not stuck forever. But you cannot change, so minting and burning, for instance, is not possible with this owner badge. Just in case, when you're setting it mintable or burnable, it's possible with your owner badge. But with our settings, it's non-burnable or mintable, so it cannot harm people in general. So this is also important for us. Yeah, so basically that's already all you need to do. Create token. And now we can see once again on our Raddix wallet that you want to create a token. After some wait, this is a bit more computational. So we receive these new 5,000 minted test tokens, and at the same time you will also receive your owner badge. So you're able to change settings later on as well. And when you're signing this now, it's already created. Can do this. 1 second. So just some wait. Success. And now the new page is already created with your new test token, and you can provide your very first liquidity to this test token as well. So in this case, when you're the first time liquidity provider, you have to guess the initial price as well, right? So if, let's say, go for 1,000, or what was the max supply for it? I forget it. Okay, let's say 100. And go for, let's say, 1,000 XRD. You can see it's even calculating your initial market cap. So for instance, you would start with 2,700 market cap and an initial price of $50 right? Or if you think that's too cheap, let's go with more. So you can even start with some crazy market caps if you want to provide so many XRD and expecting that it's worth that money, right? So this will be the initial launch price. You can set as well after you created your first token. So that's also super cool. And afterwards, you provided liquidity. It will also show up on our top token list here, right? So we will, at the very beginning, we will basically do the ranking based on liquidity inside the pools. Later on, we want to maybe have included some sort of DAO voting, so community can vote for trustworthy projects, so that only those trustworthy projects are listed on our top 100 or top 200, right? So we have also some DAO perspective later on as well included. So it's really cool to have some sort of more community interaction as well. Yeah, I think this is already kind of cool. Day one features just 1 week after smart contracts are possible. Thank you so much, guys, for your interest.
All right. Thank you for showing us all that. And I am back in case anyone was wondering where I had gone. We had to switch to a different video call stream, and I couldn't be present there. But let's discuss what we just saw. I mean, I really liked the way it's human readable in the wallet, what you're doing. I think that is a major impediment to user experience usually. So that was cool to see the way these things are baked in. There's a lot baked into the core protocol. I guess that makes it a bit more opinionated, but I believe that means the goal is to have it more secure and more user friendly. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's, I guess, even one of the major hurdles in DeFi Web3 today. Even if people want to try it out, and then I have this massive feeling of I'm going back in time. So it's like feeling like the early internet. Need to use some weird browser wallets, and with the seed traces, with hashes you have to sign, and you don't know what's actually happening behind the scenes. So it's this massive feeling of, is this really the future? Is this really something that can achieve those grand visions? So it was very, very important for the Raddix team to achieve something that people don't feeling like they're going back in time, at least to be on par with Web 2 experiences they are familiar with today, right? So it doesn't make any sense to say to people that this is massive technology, and it really feels like something with a Nintendo 64 like graphics, basically. So this is not this doesn't make any sense. So this is one of the reasons why crypto to this day is massively just a big speculative bubble. So people just going there to hope the price goes up most of the time, unfortunately, because they don't see much more use cases today besides getting rich, right? And that's really unfortunate, because you can really do something with this technology that really to innovate, right? To really push something to people that they want to use in their daily lives. Obviously, the decentralized exchanges just one of these early dApps you're seeing also on Ethereum, but we really can innovate now much quicker with the crypto language, with the Radix engine. That means we can innovate in a way shorter amount of time as a developer. To fulfill our vision, to fulfill our ideas. Big issue with Solidity and with the EVM is like you have to spend most of the time, like 80% of your time, just to make this secure as possible, to spend big on developers, spend big on audits, to feel somehow comfortable to deploy those smart contracts, right? And with the Radix engine, it's like the other way around. It's like a game engine for DeFi. So game engines also revolutionized the gaming industry. At the time they came around, like with Unity, for instance. At the time, the developer finally could just execute their game designs, their ideas. They don't have to thinking about all this low-level stuff, what's happening with the physics engines, for instance, for your characters. The same for us. You don't have to deal with all this low-level network. You don't need to understand consensus or whatever you have to deal with on Ethereum as well. So all of this stuff is abstracted away with the Radix engine. You can really just start from scratch with your idea. And that's so cool. And that's why I'm expecting that on Radix there will be so much innovation happening. So we'll already have, after 3 months, all these dApps we are seeing on other layer ones, like DEXs, like oracles, like stable coins, like lending protocols. So what you're already familiar with, right? But the cool stuff is it's just starting here with Raddix, because we can innovate so fast that I guess we will outpace all those layer ones in no time. With our creativity, we can actually fulfill. And what I said earlier, with this innovation, finally also find solutions for people in their daily lives, like they really want to use, that really drives demand besides speculation. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, what kind of use cases? Let's talk about that and about the ecosystem. What kind of use cases are you seeing already on Raddix that address your daily lives, perhaps?
Yeah, very cool question. So we see already RWA. Okay, so
real world assets.
Yeah, real world assets. So it's a really struggle to get it done on other layer ones because of the limitations and also hard to execute. And we're really looking forward to those guys, what they achieve in a short amount of time to actually integrate tokenized assets to the daily life, to daily assets, whatever they might be, right? Really looking forward to that. Also to Delphi bets, those doing a betting protocol, basically. So you can decentralize all your betting. Don't have to deal with any middlemen with high fees and stuff like that. So this could also be really cool to actually get rid of those expensive middlemen. Also maybe something like an PayPal or let's say, what's the name again? Patreon. So Patreon also takes a big chunk of those money what you're sending to them. So like a Patreon, like decentralized protocol would be really, really neat because it actually is useful for people to save a lot of money, right? This is just what I came into my mind in the early days. But long-term vision is obviously to tokenize basically everything with these smart contracts. You can get rid of expensive middlemen in so many aspects in your daily life. Even if it's someday allowed in your jurisdiction to deal with stocks, so with securities, that would be made massive, because if you can tokenize your stocks and all these assets as well, this also get another time rid of another middleman, a lot of friction, and like there's not like a unified liquidity pool possible in the traditional finance space. With DeFi, it's finally possible to have one unified ledger, one unified liquidity pool. So you get rid of so many additional overhead and costs and brokers and stuff like that. And that's obviously a problem also on the jurisdiction side of things, of getting the legal frameworks done. But it's also super cool what Raddix wants to achieve here, because they have an optional KYC service called Instapass. This means if you're doing your KYC on Instapass, you will receive a KYC badge on top onto your wallet. So it's like I have to think about the Ethereum terms for it. So it's like a soulbound token, right? So a badge on Raddix. So everyone can right away check if you're KYC'd. So if you need it for certain apps, like for instance broker types of security protocols, or for betting protocols, or for something you need to have a certain age, right? Can finally achieve also those things fully decentralized with self-custody, right? But also in a way to comply with local frameworks, legal frameworks as well. And that's super cool, because it's not really possible on other layer ones as well. So Raddix is also a built-in optional feature. So even get ready for those ideas to execute them. Those ideas where other projects don't feel comfortable to do it, because they are maybe always in trouble with their own home country, right? Because they're breaking some laws, and they really don't want to break some laws, because it's not really possible on other layer ones to comply with rules, and it's finally possible with Raddix.
All right. Let's talk about growth a bit, because I think what layer ones will struggle with is gaining users unless you really grow the whole pie and get new users into Web3. I think the peer versus peer model, I think it'll be hard for layer ones to get users that are already in Web3. So, I mean, Ethereum is sort of the dominant force currently in the DeFi space. Most users, developers, and liquidity is in the Ethereum ecosystem. What do you think? What will be the the differentiator, or what will drive growth for Raddix there to gain users and liquidity for their own DeFi ecosystem?
As I mentioned earlier, developer first focus was the key. Developers. So find people who want to build on Raddix to actually execute their ideas, and that's what we're seeing in the early days already. So I have even some people from Cardano joining us at the moment, and they weren't able to execute their vision, their ideas with the Cardano tech stack. In Raddix, they were able to do that very same thing in 1 week. That's massive.
Yeah.
And I think word to mouth, I guess, is this
word of mouth. Yeah.
Word of mouth is key here. That people, developers talking to developers and they're saying, "Hey, guys, well, you need to struggle all the time with the EVM or other layer ones. You cannot actually go to the finish line with certain ideas. Just go to Raddix, do the same in 1 week. Bam." And then finally, when we have this one unique, massive dApp, like Friends Tech, what we're seeing maybe at the moment on base layer 2, when we have something like that, but in a much more user-friendly and also much more secure and even developer-friendly, and next year even fully scalable, so no more bottlenecks also in terms of slowness and high fee spikes. I guess this will be very soon. People will talk about Raddix, and I will be one of those people that never want to shut their mouth again, and because it's so great and people need to know about it.
Right. And more pragmatically speaking, I mean, teams are running out of runway, especially in the bear market.
Yes.
Are there incentives to develop on Raddix? Are there grant programs? Are there any other sort of support systems?
Good question. So we were even part of the first Raddix grants program early this year. So there was like 6 handpicked projects, and Ociswap was one of them. So it was a really cool time because we had the honor to be with so many great projects, and also the Raddix core developer itself. And in Austria, I had some bootcamp there, and then finished all of this bootcamp after 2 or 3 months in April in Consensus in Austin. So it was really cool to be there. With a great booth of Raddix as well. So many people get familiar of what we're doing actually, right? Even around with our OC mascot, the cat. We have even made a mascot costume for this event. So it was super, super neat. Super great experience. And they want to do more grants programs in the future. So now Babylon is shipped, and finally there's more time for the Raddix team to do something else besides shipping Babylon. And I'm expecting some more announcements very soon for more grants. But there are even some smaller bits and pieces like runs on Raddix, or the smaller grants. What was the name again? So you can apply for that stuff all the time. So if you're deploying your smart contracts like within a threshold, XYZ also will receive some grants. But the Raddix team wants to see first that you're executing, that you're really willing to launch something and not just throw money at you, right? That you maybe see on other layer ones. So it's important that you really want to do something, right? And you have these inner beast inside you. You really want to show, you really want to build something, not just cash out quickly, basically. And that's the long-term vision as well for the Raddix team.
Right, lovely. Well, that's lovely. Thank you for giving us these insights. What's next for you guys then? What are you looking forward to? I mean, today is launch day, so you're happy today. If anyone hasn't noticed yet, the smile
that's so great
on your face. So yeah,
it's very, very special day. So I'm into the Raddix community since 2.5 years already. With Ociswap since November 21, also approaching 2 years roughly. That's crazy. So therefore, I cannot be more happy at the moment, and just looking for this massive launch for us personally. At the time of recording, or when you see this video live, so you can go now to ociswap.com and do your first swap. So I cannot wait for you as well to join. And now is the time finally to onboard more people, right? So at the time we have something to show, can simply do more all fancy marketing stunts and getting more people into Raddix. The ecosystem, it's growing day by day now, and so it's super cool to see that we're expecting now 50 plus projects in like a time frame of 3 months after Babylon. So it's also massive. What we might facing on much other layer ones is like ghost chain problematic. So after they're launching smart contracts, nothing really is happening, and really want to mitigate that. So we want to have many people launching and really showing interest for this layer one, and that's our near-term goal as well, to attract way more developers, attract way more people launching this ecosystem with certain whatever we want to do, right? With our marketing stunts in the future, like with the OCCAT mascot. Let's see.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, we'll include these links in the show notes. So if anyone's interested to check you guys out, they can.
Let's go.
And thank you for putting your 2 cats somewhere else so they didn't interrupt our interview.
Poor cats.
Yeah, poor cats.
They need to be in another room at the moment, so otherwise they would be here moving around the green screen, even maybe.
Yeah. Well, they'll have you back in no time now. Thank you so much coming on the show. For me personally, it was really interesting to learn about Raddix and also Ociswap and what you guys are doing. And the demo was really fun as well. And I wish you guys all the best.
Thank you so much.
Good luck, and any last words that you want to share, or
launch day? What should I say? Things coming down to a single day sometimes. So you have so many rough, hard days as well. People getting impatient, thinking you don't won't ship, or you whatever, right? You get so many harsh comments, critiques all the time as well, especially if you're there as a founder with your face around on Twitter, on wherever, right? Also with our own streams. But there's also this greatness of people, so many people are supporting us all the time. So it's like even people approaching 2 years in our community, just saying thank you to you guys. That's basically one of the most important reasons we did it, right? To go through this 2 years, like most of the time, deepest bear market sentiment was so down, but still managed to execute now with so much. I don't know how to say it in English. From an inner will, just don't care about some things you cannot change. I'm not the EZB or Fed. I cannot turn on something or turn off something on the macro perspective. It's not in my.
Well, you should have let me know, and I'll let my deep state contacts know. Then.
It's not in my power, right? I cannot change it. So what the fuck? Just don't care, right? And do your stuff, deliver, and have fun, and don't care about market short-term pricing. Do what you want to do, and that's why we now with our 10 people in our Ociswap team just doing that. Just don't give a f and execute and have fun each day, every day, and now finally launch day.
Sweet, Lucas. Yeah, we'll let you get back to work and celebrate perhaps as well. So
looking forward.
Right. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.